And welcome back, everybody, after a little bit of a delay there for some cleanup after that spectacular Spec Racer Ford race. But next up, we've got our first of two open-wheel races here today, Brian. These are our smaller open-wheel cars, our wingless things.
I love it.
Formula F, Formula V, and Formula 600 as they're heading out on track. Let's run down the Mazda Motorsport starting grid for today's race. We had 17 drivers set times here in either qualifying or yesterday's race, and the grid order is set based on the fastest time from either that qualifying session or yesterday's race. Two different groups, and we're going to run them down here. We're going to start with our first group, which are Formula F and Formula 600, and then we'll talk about our Formula V racers, who we see just a little bit further back behind. All right. Starting in 11th position, driving the number 9 Formula 600 Scorpion, it's Russell Straight. Jack Walburn will start 10th. He's driving the number 67 Formula 600 Scorpion. He's out of St. Louis, Missouri. George Bugg will start, Russell Straight will start 11th. Jack Walburn will start 10th. George Bugg will start 9th. He's driving the number 8 Scorpion. He's from Tony, Alabama. Charles Foster will start 8th. He's in the number 27 Formula F Piper. He's from Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. Then we've got Eric Van Cleef. He is going to start 7th. He's in the number 86 Formula 6 Nova car. And he lists his home, Brian, he should be like Driver X. He lists his car as Somewhere, USA. Corey McLeod's going to start 6th. He's in the number 58 Formula 600 Red Devil. He's from Charlotte, North Carolina. James Morgan going to start 5th. He's in the 01 Formula F Swift from Lighthouse Point, Florida. Starting on the outside of row number 2, driving the number 69 Formula F Swift from Daytona Beach, Florida. John Chimenti with Keith Jocelyn. He is our Formula 600 pole sitter, driving the number 55 Scorpion Rotax from Grand Island, New York. He starts 3rd, and your front row today, both Formula F machines. We've got John Robinson. He is driving the number 19 Swift. He's from St. Cloud, Florida, and your pole sitter, driving the number 08 Formula F from Edwards, Illinois, driving a 2014 Miguel SJ 2014. It's Mateo Naranjo. I'm sorry about that, Mateo. Now let's move over to the Formula Vs, where we had 6 drivers qualify. Ray Carmody starting 6th. He's driving the number 81 Mysterian. He's from Horseheads, New York. Jeff Filipkowski starting 5th, driving the number 20 Caruso CBR1 from Mount Bethel, Pennsylvania. William Styczynski starting 3rd. He's driving the number 21 Vortec. He hails from Downers Grove, Illinois, with Danielsville, Georgia's Stephen Davis driving his Vortec. That's the number 80 machine. He starts 3rd. And your front row in Formula V, driving the number 23 Caracal from Northport, New York, it's Russell Fredericks. And your pole sitter in Formula V from Fletcher, North Carolina, driving the Agitator. It's the number 30 machine of Donnie Isley.
All right, one of Ray Carmody's family members chimed in. Horseheads, New York is a native name. It's from finding tons of buried horses' heads in the valley near where they live.
Oh.
So that is the background.
Not in anybody's beds.
Horseheads, New York. Yes.
No.
Greg, the Godfather. That would be your 6G.
That would be the Godfather.
Greg Godfather Ginsburg. Now we call him 6G.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway, getting ready to get this race underway here. We've got all of our cars coming out of Le Mans and heading onto the back straight here. They'll come together 2 by 2 behind the pace car. Pace car ducking a pit lane. And then the starter will wave the green hanky.
That's right. And so, Brian, I know it's hard for me to say that the lights are out on the pace car when those headlights from that classic Mazda are shining so bright in our eyes currently. But the lights that the drivers see behind, those have been extinguished so that they know we're going to be going racing this next time by. And so yesterday, in our sprint race, taking the overall win was Formula F driver John Robinson. He took the win over Keith Jocelyn. It was a great battle between Robinson and Naranjo up until the very last lap. Naranjo went off at turn number 7 at the hairpin, and that kind of gifted the win to John Robinson. A great battle for him in Formula V. Taking the win yesterday, it was Stephen Davis in the number 80 machine. We'll see if he can repeat today as the pace car is on the pit lane, Brian, turning the field over to our pole sitter, Mateo Naranjo.
Green flag in the air. Here comes your first group. These are your Formula F and your Formula 600s. Then your second group, all your Formula Vs, all barreling down towards turn 1 for the first time here.
All right, coming down deep on the inside, it is the Formula 600 of Keith Jocelyn taking an early lead over the Formula F field of Matteo Naranjo, John Robinson, John Chimenti, and James Morgan. And in Formula V, surprise, surprise, they are all clumped together as they come out of turn 2, heading into turn 3 with Donnie Isley, your leader through turn 3.
It looks like that is Keith. I believe that's Corey McLeod who has taken the early lead here in that orange Formula 6 car.
And Brian, you'll notice we have a driver that has looped the car around. That's one of our Formula 600 drivers that has gone around over at turn number 4, and it is Keith Jocelyn in the orange and black number 55, who is not the driver who spun, but the driver who is leading the field currently, Keith Jocelyn. We'll get the number on that driver in just a moment, and it sounds as though that car has no power. They can't get it restarted, and that may bring out a very early caution.
Yeah, and fortunately, with these small cars, if they do have to go full course, it'll be a real quick pickup. But Keith Jocelyn there driving away from the front of the Formula F field here. In many cases, these Formula 600 cars are faster than the Formula F cars, but they get mired in the different battles, and it's sometimes hard to get around them. But Jocelyn there moving forward, and now we're a little further back into the field. You see their Formula 600 or Formula V cars coming up on a slower Formula 600 car.
All right, and so we already have our emergency services teams responding to that Formula 600 that is over at turn number 5. They dispatched from right over by turn number 3, so hopefully they'll be able to get them out of the way or get them back up and running before the field even comes back around on lap number 2. So as we're watching the field now, and our front pack coming down into turn 17 off the Ullman Straight. Again, Keith Jocelyn, your Formula 600 leader, right behind him. It is right now taking the lead John Robinson with Matteo Naranjo running in second. John Chimenti running in third with a bit of a gap there now back into to James Morgan and Charles Foster. And we'll see you with Formula V here in just a moment. But that is how that stands. James Morgan now coming across the line, and Morgan sitting in fourth, trying to hold off Charles Foster in the number 27 machine, and he is currently sitting in 6th. Corey McLeod is your second place runner in Formula 600, and I believe, well, we'll see here in just a moment, as another set of Formula 600s cross the line. It is Eric Van Cleef, who is our racer that is that had the issue on lap number 1, Brian.
All right, so Jocelyn up front, Naranjo, Robinson, Chimenti, your top 3 in Formula F. And now Jocelyn pulls over, it looks like. Did he have a problem with the car? I'm not sure. I'm guessing he slowed down for the yellow there, and the cars that came right from behind him got back on the gas quicker coming out of the full course yellow. That's the only thing I can think of, because he looks like he's up to speed.
Yeah, he's back up to speed here. So your new overall leader is Matteo Naranjo in that yellow number 08 Formula F machine. John Robinson second. Chimenti got around our former leader Keith Jocelyn as well. So that moved Jocelyn back into 4th position. Now in Formula V, a little bit further back, it's Isley, Frederick, Stephen Davis. That is your top 3, with Jeff Filipkowski currently sitting in 4th. They're coming down into the Hawk Performance braking zone now for the second time here, and that crowd still very tightly packed, but split up actually in 2 groups of 3.
Right, so it looks like it's Naranjo, Robinson, and Chimenti up front now, and then Jocelyn was able to slide in behind that front 3, and that's the only thing I could put together there, is that just kind of coming through that local yellow.
Yeah, he did what we want our drivers to do, which is to be careful and give deference to our emergency services teams and volunteers that are on the ground working an incident. And the 2 Formula F drivers, they took advantage. Now, Brian, you were saying that in many cases, these Formula 600 cars, they are faster than the Formula Fs, and you find that because of differences in gearing, usually one is going to have a more advantageous straight line speed and more top end. The other one, from a handling standpoint, is a little bit better. But we can see now where Jocelyn now splitting up the top 3 drivers in Formula F, as Jocelyn now is slid in front of John Chimenti, moving Chimenti back to 4th overall.
Well, and the good news for Jocelyn is he's got, he's not racing against the Formula Fs. He's racing against his own class, and the next closest Formula 600 car is several seconds behind, so not a big worry there. Let's see if we can start to pick up that Formula V race for a little bit and see what those guys are doing here. And they should be coming through right about now. Is this the front of the Formula V?
Yes, here we go. Here are our 2 groups of 3 out of so 6 runners, and Stephen Davis, he is at the point in that black with yellow number 80 machine. Right behind him is our Formula V pole sitter, Donnie Isley, and then Russell Fredericks. He's in that red number 23 machine, and he is running in 3rd position as they are all in line now, coming across the line. That second group, that is Jeff Elkowski, Ray Carmody, Bill Styczynski. Should mention, besides Van Cleef, who had those issues on the opening lap in his Formula 600, George Bugg in his Scorpion out of Tony, Alabama, did not take the green flag.
Yeah, Davis, Isley, Fredericks, that was the way it came across the line here. Those top 3 Formula V cars starting to pull away from the 3 behind them, and they'll try to string that out just a little bit, and then they will work their draft together. Formula V is a momentum class, so much so that they try to make it so that there's even no friction between the brake pads and the brake drums if they're using drum brakes. A lot of these cars now switch to disc brakes, but you very much want to do as little as you have to, or as much as you can, to avoid any kind of slowing friction resistance on these cars, because there's not a lot of horsepower. You want to carry as much as you can into the corners and then get as much as you can coming out. And it's so important on these cars because there's not a lot of go faster pedal in the go faster pedal. Right.
I believe there's less than 70 horsepower in these cars, and although they look like, little cigar-shaped bodies, they look fairly aerodynamic. They actually put a pretty big hole in the air for the cars behind, and the draft is very strong for them. And if you lose any kind of momentum out of a corner, that is going to just increase the opportunity for somebody to make a pass on you. All right, so we have a new leader here. And it is John Robinson who gets around Matteo Naranjo, coming through the final corner through the Sunset Bend, and that is how it's going to be going down into turn number 1. Now, we saw yesterday, Brian, in our 25-minute race where Matteo Naranjo, we thought he was in pretty good shape. Just sat right behind Robinson, and we thought he was going to wait till the very end of the race probably to make the move, and unfortunately it didn't work out for him in turn 7. But let's do this. Well, actually, we'll wait a little bit before we make that first call. So we'll see here how things play out. Now, we mentioned yesterday that Naranjo came off of a race with Nolan Aller last year here in Formula F, where they made I think 23 lead swaps over the course of the feature race. We haven't seen that many yet, but I think we're at 2 or 3 already here in this race. And I think that both of these racers, having raced for 25 minutes yesterday, I think they both have a much better feeling for the other's racecraft and some of the tricks that they may try to pull out of their hat over the course of this race.
So most of the Vs in this race have the floating calipers and floating rotors to keep that friction off, like I was talking about.
Right.
That's how they're doing it with the rotors versus the drum brakes. Back when it was drum brakes, you had to adjust those brakes every single session, and that was a total pain in the tuchus.
Yeah.
But they did it, and that was what they needed to get these cars to go fast. Here is Stephen Davis. Looks like he tried to take a peek out there. No, it's not Davis.
It's Davis, and it's Isley, and then it's Fredericks.
Peeking out to see if he wanted to make a move there going into turn 3. Thought better of it. So Stephen Davis stays in it for this time, at least for now.
And so, interestingly enough, Brian, the last time I had a chance to talk to Stephen Davis, I was covering a race weekend at Carolina Motorsports Park, and this was 2 years ago. And at the time, whereas most of the Formula V field had moved over to the disc brakes, Stephen Davis now, and we see Donnie Isley coming under braking, going into the Haas Performance braking zone. He pulls out a pass on Stephen Davis, going to go to the lead in Formula V. Stephen Davis at the time, whereas most of the field had moved over to the disc brakes, chose, for at least at the time, to stay with the drum brake. So yes, even though there was a lot more maintenance involved with the drum brakes and having to get them ready for each and every race. The one thing that he liked was you could adjust those drums to the point where there was zero friction.
and zero braking.
Yeah, well, yes, and zero braking until you needed to get on the brakes. Now, with floating calipers, which most street cars have used for years, there is still, believe it or not, there is still the tiniest little bit of friction as those pads stay very close to the brake rotors. And that's how you get a much firmer pedal. That's how they engage much more quickly. And so Stephen Davis at the time, he was holding off on making that transition. Don't know if 2 years later, like the rest of the Formula V field, he's now moved over. So let's go back, speaking of moving over, to the battle for the lead in Formula F. And Matteo Naranjo has indeed gotten around John Robinson here. So add one more lead change to the book in Formula F. Chimenti still running third in class behind Keith Jocelyn. Our second place runner in Formula 600, Brian Corey McLeod. He has not only Chimenti, but James Morgan ahead of him. He is currently, if we look at overall time, about a little bit over 6 seconds back from leader Jocelyn.
We've got two really great battles for the leads in two different classes here, and too bad we can't have two separate race broadcasts, so we could just do one for the front Formula F, Formula 6, one for the Formula V. Our director back is going, no, don't suggest that, don't suggest that. No, we're having a good time with it, though. But both these battles up front are fantastic here, and no one is giving up anything as we go lap to lap here.
So T. Carmody chimes in the chat, Brian, that they actually use some springs to hold the pads on those floating disc calipers away from the rotors, so that there isn't any kind of friction there. And now that I think about it, my Acura does the exact, or my old Acura did the exact same thing, and it made for the worst brake pad feel ever. But I'll tell you, any disc brake pedal feel has got to be better than drum brake pedal feel, which is incredibly inconsistent.
Don Drennan in the chat reminds us that Stephen Davis is one of an elite group who have won both a club racing national champion and a solo national championship. Two very different disciplines, and it's hard to be great at both, but Stephen Davis certainly got that done.
Michael Berger in the chat says, I stick with drums because I'm broke.
Yeah, well, it is a cost to make those changes, and that is a consideration for a lot of drivers when they're working on upgrades for their cars. So. All right, here we come. This is our front group here. Those are two Formula Ford cars. They're Formula F cars. Matteo Naranjo. Robinson. Yeah, you know, I put a quarter in the tip jar here, and then Keith Jocelyn in that Scorpion Rotax, trying to keep up with them. And he's in a good spot. He doesn't need to pass those cars. His closest competitor behind him is, let me look at this real quick. His closest competitor is Corey McLeod, 8.9 seconds back. So he can just sit and watch those guys up front play, not have to worry about getting mixed up in their fight, and then they can go from there.
Yeah, and that advantage, that lead in Formula 600 is increased by almost 2 seconds over the last lap. All right, Brian, let's do this. Let's quickly make a first call to the grid for our next run group. Attention in the paddock, attention in the paddock. First call to the grid for Spec Miata race group number 4. Please start heading to the grid. Spec Miata racers, please head to the grid. We'll be right, your race is next. All right, so Brian here, let's continue on, and we'll see here coming down. I believe we now have our Formula V racers on the front straight there, and look at this. We are starting to see almost as big a gap as you would normally see in Formula V. Yeah. Stephen Davis now has opened up about a 6 car lengths over Donnie Isley, another 3 car lengths back to third place runner Russell Frederick. So things starting to stretch out there, and then we see Ray Carmody and Jeff Filipkowski. Bill Styczynski now has definitely fallen off the pace. Some issues. Now, we know Styczynski was having some issues keeping his car in 4th gear a week ago at Homestead. That may still be an issue for him.
Well, and we had Steve Winston in the booth with us last weekend, and he had said that, we got a big car off there. That was one of the backpack.
I think that may have been Carmody that just went wide going through turn number 5. We'll see here as they come down into turn 7 and into the hairpin. We'll see if we can pick up which cars are still there. Actually, I think that might have been Styczynski.
Yeah. So what I was saying was we had Steve Winston in the booth last weekend, and he had said that at 1.5 to 2 seconds, the draft is gone between these two cars. Right now, Stephen Davis, his lead, 1.5 seconds.
All right, and so Brian, as we're watching this the battle on for the podium in Formula V, our top 3 drivers at the moment, we're starting to see, and we're going to see them come into view here in just a few moments, coming out of turn 10. Yeah, there are our overall leaders, and it is John Robinson who has once again gotten around Matteo Naranjo. So another lead change here on lap number 7 at the front of Formula F, and probably about another half lap to 3/4 of a lap, and we'll see our Formula F leaders up with our Formula V leaders.
And we talk about it a lot, where these drivers got to work together to pull away and not be racy in the middle sections of this. There's a plane landing in the background. That's the best part here of being at Sebring, with a working airfield going on around us. You see some fun stuff like that. But what I was going to say was, with the 2 lead cars in Formula F, they don't have to worry about working together anymore, because they're far enough ahead of the rest of the field where they can just race each other now. Even for the last 8 laps here, shouldn't be an issue, as now they're working their way through the Formula V field, and that also means the cars behind them have to work their way through the Formula V field and pick their spots to do that. So there's your race leaders there, just coming under the line. That's Robinson and Naranjo, and then they're going to be coming up right now on the front couple of cars in Formula V. 7 laps to go here. We're past halfway, so let's do another call to grid and take our break, and then we'll take you. Don't go to break yet. That's the 23 car. Keith Joslin barely missed him. He's going to have to get back into gear here. That's Russell Fredericks. He was your second place car in Formula V,
and he was right there. And he was right there with Donnie Isley as they got very close. And
he is not going to be able to get that car restarted. He's not able to at the moment. He's still trying. You can see him waving to the corner workers.
As our leaders there in Formula F go through turn 7, and of course the call from the workers is to get that Formula V moved immediately, and that would definitely, I think, bring out a full course caution. So let's haven't heard the word for them to stand up the pace car yet, but we'll see if that happens.
Well, the other question is, there a big enough gap where they could actually just go out and push that car? There's a lot of room to push that car too. And we already saw where they were able to get the Formula 600 removed. Now the 600 was already off the track surface at the time. But we'll watch and see if they deploy anybody over there towards turn number 5. So far, no call to stand up the safety car. But that really makes a huge change at the front of the Formula V field. Of course, Stephen Davis still your leader. That's going to move Isley back up to second. That now, for the moment, moves Ray Carmody into 3rd position, albeit a distant 3rd, but a 3rd it is. A huge wiggle from Keith Joslin as he comes through Le Mans onto the back straight. He was, when you wiggle that much where I can see the car numbers, that is a big wiggle there. So, whew.
All right, coming out of Sunset right now. Now, Jocelyn had just run the fastest lap of anybody in this race, and you can see he separated himself out from Chimenti. He was only 2 car lengths back when they crossed the stripe that last time by. As we go back now, and we see our leaders in Formula V coming down the back straight. And there's our leader, Stephen Davis, going into 17, and then...
So Greg, Russell Fredericks, they've been able to get that car out of the way, so we will not be going to full course.
Good.
So let's get our break in now. So our call to get our break so we can get back for the end of the race.
Attention in the paddock, attention in the paddock. Second call to the grid for race group number 4, Spec Miata. Please head to the grid. Spec Miata drivers, race group number 4, your race is next. Please head to the grid.
Hoosier Racing Tire is proud to be the presenting sponsor of SCCA Super Tour. Hoosier's mission is to be the dominant customer-driven provider of tires to race teams domestically and internationally. At Hoosier, we know that our success is dependent on how well we meet our customers' expectations by providing the safest, most reliable, high-quality race tires that put you in the winner's circle. For more information, see our trackside support personnel or the local Hoosier Racing Tire dealer near you. Or contact us at HoosierTire.com. Hoosier Racing Tires, truly tires designed for champions.
Hagerty is the official and exclusive insurance partner for SCCA and provides affordable off-track insurance protection for motorsports vehicles while in the paddock, in transit, in storage, and at the shop. Hagerty also provides guaranteed value coverage and even has protection for your trailer. Did you know that SCCA members can save 5% on insurance through Hagerty? Hagerty, let's drive together. Learn more at Hagerty.com.
Get more bang for your buck at SummitRacing.com. Choose from millions of in-stock parts from over 1,500 name brands. Parts for racing, street performance, trucks, plus tools, accessories, and more. Shop anytime, anywhere with the Summit Racing app.
As the official fuel partner, Sunoco has been helping the SCCA and their drivers perform at their peak since 2001. Mile after mile, race after race, Sunoco's trusted the fuel over 50 racing bodies, including the SCCA, SCCA Pro Racing, Trans Am, NHRA, and NASCAR. As the largest manufacturer of race fuels, they're passionate about helping drivers and teams take the lead. To find race gas near you, visit SunocoRacefuels.com or call Sunoco at 800-RACE-GAS.
For over 25 years, championship-winning drivers and teams have demanded Hawk Performance Motorsports brake pads. Now you can have their advanced technology on your daily car, truck, or SUV with Hawk Performance Street products. With the improved HP Plus pad for the hybrid street and track feel, or Super Duty pads for tow vehicles, their all-new ER brake pad designed to take on even the longest race, and their all-new high-performance brake fluid. Hawk has all your braking needs covered. Visit hawkperformance.com and like them on Facebook or Instagram to learn more about the Hawk Performance Advantage. Hawk Performance, what's stopping you?
If you like what you see today, become part of the action by joining the Sports Car Club of America. Whether you want to drive, flag, organize, officiate, have fun with cars, or meet 65,000 enthusiast friends, SCCA has plenty to feed your motorsport obsession. Ask someone trackside how to get involved or visit SCCA.com for more information.
We're back here at Sebring in the middle of our small Formula Car race, and it is 5 laps to go here. The gap in Formula V has widened out a bunch to 13 seconds.
No, Brian, we just watched him coming through turn 5, and we now have Donnie Isley within about a half a car length of Stephen Davis, and we'll see them here, and that is, well, I thought that was them. That was the leader. Oh, no, you are absolutely correct.
We have about
Sorry.
a 13-second
I apologize,
lead for
Brian.
Stephen Davis here.
And he's got Ray Carmody
in Formula
with him.
V, and before Donnie Isley and Ray Carmody. So we're going to get back to focusing on our front race here in Formula F here for the last few laps, because that is where the action is at the moment. Up front in the overall and in Formula F, you've got John Robinson and Matteo Naranjo, and that gap is less than 0.98 seconds at the line last time. A little bit closer in that race.
That's right. They're running, and here they come underneath the pedestrian bridge with Naranjo's Miguel now right under the back of John Robinson's Swift, and here they come down into the front straight. Now again, they've only swapped position, Brian, like 10 or 11 times today, but it is one of those things where Naranjo is going to have to, as opposed to what we saw yesterday, he's going to have to keep those aggression levels somewhat on an even keel, as now we see Robinson starting to defend going into turn number 3, and now with only 4 laps remaining, I think he wants to keep that lead position now, maybe all the way to the checker, and maybe he's had enough of watching the back of the yellow 08.
And then Keith Joslin there, the third car that we're seeing in our picture here. That is the orange Scorpion Rotax. He's from Grand Island, New York. He has been putting on a clinic this weekend and showing just how to get it done in Formula 600. He's got a 16-second lead over Corey McLeod in the Red Devil Arrow from Charlotte, North Carolina. Then you've got Russell Straight Jr. He is in third place right now. So the real battle right now is that battle for first place overall and first place in Formula F.
Hey, Brian, want to quickly welcome to the chat Scott Brallier, of course, his daughter Lauren, very good Formula V racer in her own right, and sometimes booth partner here for the two of us.
Yes, Lauren's been up here several times. She's been to the Mazda Shootout, and just one of those really great up-and-coming young racers who we love to have join us up here. So here are your Formula F cars here, going through Le Mans and heading onto that back straight and just trying to kind of bide their time until this is where the strategery plays in.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And Robinson has been, in the time that he has been behind Naranjo, he has been looking to see what Naranjo's tendencies are. When Naranjo has been behind Robinson, he's been watching Robinson's, oh my gosh. And now they are side by side coming underneath the bridge. I was going to say tendencies. I was going to use the same word, and all of a sudden I forgot it. But now Robinson to driver's left, Naranjo to driver's right as they cross the stripe, and we should have 3 laps remaining. And Naranjo crosses the stripe when they cross the start-finish line, Brian. 1/1000th of a second separating those two cars.
I think it was closer than that.
It might have very well been.
And now we have a
and Robinson slides very wide coming through turn number 3. The rear end stepped out on him, and Naranjo with the largest lead that either of these racers have had over the past 2 days, I think, with the exception of the last lap yesterday, as Naranjo now opens up a 3-car length advantage over John Robinson.
Yeah, we have no idea what the tire management was for these cars over the weekend, as whether or not Robinson started this race on new tires or a couple of heat cycle tires. And with Naranjo staying in second place, probably being able to save his tires a little bit, now it looks like he's able to pull away just a tiny bit here. We'll know more next time we see him come into our view, but that was a good move by Naranjo, and with 3 laps to go, it's time to make some things happen.
That's right. Hey, want to mention as we wind things down here, wanted to welcome him to the chat, Ernie Francis Jr.
Nice. Hi, Ernie.
Former GT1 national champion, also Trans Am champion. Started off, yes, I was going to say SRX superstar, Ryan Bauer, director, says, and we had Ernie up here a number of years ago here at Sebring on the Super Tour in the booth for a wonderful interview, but want to welcome him to the chat. And he is also, I've seen him from his days right out of club racing, Brian, starting in what was then known as TCB in Pirelli World Challenge, and really advance up through the racing world. And thanks for joining us, Ernie. Appreciate it. As our leaders now coming down the Ullman Straight. And when they cross the stripe, it will be 2 laps remaining. And it's Naranjo, your leader, with Robinson second. And it looks like Robinson going to try to come underneath, much like Naranjo did a lap before. Oh, big wiggles from Keith Joslin coming underneath the bridge over in turn 17 in the Sunset Curve. And, that was kind of like the bucking bronco that we talked about yesterday, Brian. And Joslin gathers it back up. All right, and so now coming down into turn number 3, coming up on some slower traffic, Naranjo coming through turn 3. Robinson trying to open up turn 3, apex it as late as possible so he can get a straight run through turns 4 and 5. And now both of these drivers, they're going to have to deal with that, what we would call slower Formula 600 traffic, some lap traffic. Right. But again, there is that speed in a straight line that those Formula 600s have. It's going to make it very difficult for our 2 Formula F racers who are now side by side going under braking into the Hawk Performance braking zone. And as they come through the hairpin, Brian, now side by side once again with a lap and a half remaining.
Well, Robinson was our leader yesterday after Naranjo had some problems. Naranjo's not having those problems today. He's right in the mix. And after winning the final 2 races of last year's Super Tour at Road America, Naranjo's trying to follow it up with a win in the first race of the season this year. So last year's Super Tour champion fighting for the lead here at Road America, at Sebring.
Or Road Atlanta, or somewhere here at Sebring, exactly. All right, so now as they come out of turn 11, make their way to 13 in the tower turn, it is Mateo Naranjo leading Robinson on to the Flying Fortress Straight as we now have a lap and a quarter remaining.
Lap and a quarter exactly, coming now into Le Mans for the second to last time. You'll see them come into your view here in just a second. And there they are. Naranjo, oh, Robinson went way wide there. That's going to give it to Naranjo, and he will not be able to come and make that up unless Naranjo has a problem. There's no way with a lap and a half to go that Robinson will be able to catch will be able to catch Naranjo at this point in time.
Ooh, another plane coming in.
Oh, there's my Gulfstream coming to
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Getting ready. That's our flight out of here.
That's right. That's right. Here they come under the bridge. Look at the big lead that Naranjo has now over Robinson after that mistake going into that chicane area. And of course, Keith Jocelyn is now in the picture there. Of course, they're not racing each other, different classes there. But this has just kind of made an easy trip to the finish line for Mateo Naranjo, as long as he doesn't have any problems in this last lap of the race.
I was going to say he's got now 14 more turns that he has to negotiate here, and he's got some slower traffic ahead of him. Once again, he has to make sure that he does not let his nerves get the better of him, and he holds firm here as he's coming underneath turn 5 again, getting held up maybe just a little bit coming out of turn 5 by some slower Formula 600 traffic, and as they are coming out, and they're actually coming back up on the back of the Formula V fight right now, right. Brian. They're actually coming up on Jeff Filipkowski, Ray Carmody, and Donnie Isley in what is the battle for second in Formula V, and here's our Formula V leader. We'll see the Formula F machines coming up here probably in just a few moments, but that is a race we'll definitely want to get back to because there are a lot of implications there for the podium in Formula V.
Yeah, definitely. Our best race on the track right now is the race for second, third here in Formula V, and that will be our closest race to the line right now as our leaders now try to get through that pack. So now you've got a thing where those Formula Vs don't want to get in the way of the race leader, but the racer doesn't want to mess up this race for a podium position,
right,
and might not even know this is a race for a podium position. Hopefully they're being able to tell him in his ear. It looks like he's negotiated around that just fine, and it doesn't look like it's made too much of an effect on those Formula Vs either. So there is your race leader coming through Le Mans for the final time. Right behind him is your a spinner. That was Jeff Filipkowski spinning out of second place. That means that right now Ray Carmody is in second place and Donnie Isley is in third as they come out of 16 and head to down the back straight for the final time. Here's your leader overall. This is Mateo Naranjo, and right behind him is the battle for second place overall, or second place in Formula V. There and coming, Keith Jocelyn has been able to get around, and it doesn't look like those Formula Vs are close enough to have any big issue here coming to the line.
And here we go as they come underneath the pedestrian bridge. It is going to be Mateo Naranjo taking the win in Formula F. He finished a little bit further back in the pack yesterday, takes the win today in the feature race. Keith Jocelyn winning Formula 600. He'll finish second overall. John Robinson third. And now we've got that battle coming across the line, taking the win in Formula V. We've got Stephen.
Yep.
That was our second place runner in V. That was Donnie Isley finishing second as he takes the checker flag. Stephen Davis going to take the win for the second day in a row. Stephen Davis sweeping Formula V. Jeff Filipkowski will finish in fourth behind Ray Carmody.
What a heartbreak for Filipkowski and that Brandon Caruso CBR1. That is a new Formula V, first Formula V built new in the series in a long, long time. He was on pace for a second place finish before he spun going into 16 on the final lap there. Wow, what an amazing change of events here.
All right, and your podium in Formula 6, Keith Jocelyn, as we saw, finished second overall. Corey Terry McLeod will finish in second. Jack Walbrin will finish in third. Russell Straight finishing just off the podium in fourth.
Okay.
Let's make a final. Yeah, now we can breathe. Let's make a final call to the grid for our